Okay, here's my setup for the differential seal. Got a piece of PVC that I'm going to use to pop that seal in. And I've got a speedy sleeve to go on the pinion flange or whatever, since mine's a little worn, and I checked that that does go into the seal nice and snug, so I'm hopeful this will not leak. That worked well. I have it in just a little bit past flush, so I think that's right. It's going to go back and look at pictures to determine which way this bracket went on, but they actually have the holes not symmetrical on 90 or on 90s and 45 or 90-degree angles, so it can only go on one way. Okay, the mounting plate is on and torqued up. Now I have this pinion flange that's a little bit of a ridge in here, so I'm going to put a speedy sleeve on it, which I've never done before, but looks pretty simple. You just tap that on, so give it a shot. Well, I need non-hardening sealer, it says, for this speedy sleeve, so I'll have to pick some up. But meanwhile, I've pulled the cover off and wire brushed this surface so I can put some gasket maker on there. I think I'm going to flush this out, make sure I didn't get any debris in there, and flush it out real quick. Okay, putting the cover on, I re-tapped all the bolt holes and ran the nuts through the die across the nuts to get those cleaned up, and degreased the surface here and on the cover, and then hit it with some alcohol afterwards. And I'll put on the gasket maker. This stuff, I had two experiences with it. One, when I didn't clean the surface up extremely well and it failed, and another time when I put when I cleaned the surface well like this and put it on, it was almost impossible to get the cover back off. So I'm a little scared of doing too good a job cleaning it, because it really does stick if you get the surfaces clean. Okay, waiting for this to set for 1 hour with these just loosely tightened until it starts to squish out. I put the speedy sleeve on. Initially tried to put it on with this tool and tapping it with a hammer, but it didn't really go very well. I threw it in the press over there and it went on very easily, so I think the press works better, but I'm sure if I hit it hard enough and played with it long enough, I could have done it with the hammer. Got the back plate torqued up, mounting plate on with new nylocks, my new fancy bushings that cost a fortune, and just waiting for my helper to show up so I can try to lift that into the car and have her put the washers and nuts on to hold it up. Fighting to get the differential in. It's got to weave around some parts of the frame, cross member. And of course I have this beam right in the way, and my jack's not very good for this. And so it's pretty tough to get that sucker lined up right. I got a nut on one ear, but my jack's at the top of the throw. So I have to shim and wiggle and try to get it the rest of the way without scratching up my powder coating. I've not been happy with the way that bushing tends to squish out. So I've had this differential, out and in, 7 or 8 times, lowering it down, trying to put it in the right place, torquing them in different orders, prying from here back to try and get the bias backwards a little bit as I tighten, and nothing helped. And I finally figured out the problem. Somebody came in here one night, I guess, when I wasn't paying attention, and they actually took this plate off and they turned it 180 degrees and then put it back together. And so that's what's been screwing me up. I don't know who would do that, but anyway, I'm going to see if I can flip that around, and I think it's going to help. It wasn't super easy to flip that around with the differential in place, but I did manage to do it. I think the only reason it worked is because the stud came out instead of the nut coming off, which gave me enough room to wiggle it around. But they definitely fit better now. I'm gonna have to start locking the door so people don't come in here and sabotage me like that. And if anybody else has the same problem, this double line of text goes down.